Hello, wonderful butterflies of this world. It's your host here, Ash from Butterfly Shots. Welcome to the very first actual episode of Ash Unmasked, the podcast where we talk about everything and anything, from books to little drama stories to everything in between. Today, I will be talking about this book called Me Time, book about self-care, published in 2021 by the author Jessica Sanders. Everything that I will talk about will be based on that book by Jessica Sanders. According to the description of the author on Amazon, Jessica has a bachelor's degree in fine art photography and a postgraduate certificate in gender studies and a master's in social work. She's an author. She's also an advocate and social worker. She's from Australia. Jessica was always the tallest kid, and she struggled a lot to accept her tallness throughout her life. Over time, the author learns from life lessons and grows to love her tallness, and even learns to celebrate it. This episode is based on a blog post that I wrote in February 2023. I do not do blogging anymore, so I will transfer the blog to a podcast. If you're someone who's been trying to figure out how to prioritize yourself, this episode will be for you. We're going to be talking about the importance of self-care and how to make it part of our daily life. First off, let me tell you, I remember really liking this book. Back in 2023, I gave it a solid 5 stars. I got the hardcover version of the book and it had 128 pages, so nice and short. The pages were colorful and the text was really straight to the point. My opinion is that Jessica Sanders really has the ability to break down complex ideas into simple steps. So my thought on the book, it's practical and it's grounded. It's really designed to help us as a reader understand self-care and how to integrate it into our life and make it a habit. It's not just another fluffy woo-woo self-care book, you know. One of the things that I loved most about this book was the way it was structured. The author broke the book into several parts. First, understanding what self-care means, then finding inspiration for our own journey of self-care, and then lastly, using tools to implement healthy habits. My opinion is that if you've ever read a self-help book that felt like it was fluff or woo-woo, I think you'll love how straightforward and down-to-earth Jessica is. Now I will give a quick summary of the book. First, the author talks about what self-care really is. Well, you know, it's more than bubble baths, face masks, and drinking wine with a book in the hand. Even though those are great ideas of self-care ritual, Jessica, the author, makes it clear that self-care goes beyond pampering yourself. What it really is about is respecting our body, nurturing our minds, investing in our future self, and honoring our spiritual self. A thing that comes to mind when we read this book is that self-care can be hard work, especially when it comes down to setting boundaries with people, family, friends, colleagues. Setting boundaries can be really tough, but I personally learned the hard way this year that it is essential to our mental health. It's important to remember that self-care is not just like a one-time thing. It's ongoing. It's something that we need to keep in mind every day. It goes as far as how we talk to ourselves, how we treat ourselves, how we feel about ourselves. You can see it as an ongoing practice. And Jessica, the author, emphasizes that it's something that we consciously have to make time for. What works for one person might not work for another. And that is okay. The key is to get to know yourself, get to know what makes you feel good and what fills your cup. When we talk about what fills or empties the cup, self-care can be different for everyone. But ultimately, it can look like knowing our values and our needs, accepting them and honoring them, accepting ourselves and our imperfections. Filling your own cup first with the good things in life. Setting boundaries, that means saying no. Believe in our worth. Be our own cheerleader. Cultivate self-awareness and speak kindly to ourselves. The author also talks about writing things down, like journaling. She talks about reflecting on our needs and values in paying attention to our own emotional and physical cues. And this is one of the way I really connect with the book. Just like the author, I personally think that writing things down is important. It's one way to get to know ourselves and get to know what makes us feel great. When we write something down in a journal, we are able to come back to it later when we don't feel so great about ourselves. And that's a great reminder of how great we are. The author quotes Caroline Cardwell, and she says, quote, "In a society that profits from self-doubt, liking ourselves is a rebellious act." End of quote. Society loves to make us think that self-care is selfish somehow, but it isn't. This book really reinforced the idea that self-care is not selfish. It is necessary to our health. We need to prioritize ourselves. If we don't prioritize ourselves, who's going to prioritize ourselves? The author talks about how things like work-related issues, breakups, family issues, health problems, lack of exercise, lack of socializing, and life in general can siphon all the juice that we try to put in our cup. The author encourages us to fill our own cups before we try to fill others, because there's already a bunch of stuff trying to take the juice out of our cup already. So we can only concentrate on filling our own cup. We need to be kind to ourselves and put boundaries and say no. Trust me, I know that setting boundaries with friends or family, it's often easier said than done. But the author quotes Apprentice Hemphill in that manner, quote, "Boundaries are the distance at which I can love you and me simultaneously." End of quote. That is so true. So when we put boundaries up, when we show love to ourselves, it is only showing love to others as well. I love that. The author goes on and gives us a lot of self-care tips. And the self-care is how we would be filling that cup that keeps getting emptied. The author has a ton of great tips for quick self-care, which I absolutely love. Because if we're in a rush, you only got 1 minute, 5 minutes, or even 10 minutes, there's still self-care ideas that can easily fit into our day. No excuses. For example, a quick 1-minute self-care idea could be something as simple as drinking water, or writing down 3 things that made us happy today. Doing a quick 1-minute meditation or doing a 1-minute stretching of our body can also be very beneficial. Lighting up a candle, being kind to someone, offering someone a hug. Did you know that hugs are great for the mental and physical health? We don't hug enough. Say you have a bit more time in your day and you have 5 minutes. That's enough time to recite some affirmations, to practice mindfulness, to flex your gratitude muscle, or to take a moment to stretch it out. It's enough time to write someone a message and tell them how important they are. It's also enough time to start organizing your time, to go cuddle your pet, and even to have a dance party by yourself. These little things add up. And they do make a big difference on how we feel. If you have a little more time, let's say you got 10 or 15 minutes to spare, try walking barefoot for 10 or 15 minutes, or put a timer on and take a power nap. Lie outside and watch the beautiful sky. Do some self-reflection, or put a timer on and concentrate on breathing. 15 minutes also enough time to do a short yoga session. Just so you know. In 30 minutes, you can write a letter to your future self. And this is one I personally like to do a lot, writing letters to myself. You can also take time to move your body in ways that feel good to you. For me, that's yoga, but that can be different for everyone, as we said before. 30 minutes is enough to take a break from reality, or to pamper yourself. What if you have a whole hour? The author encourages you to go ahead and treat yourself. Why don't you watch an episode of your favorite show? Take a long bath or shower, clean your home or your social media feed, read a nice book, learn more about your brain and your body, or just take time to rest and do nothing. It's all about what you need in the moment. It's all about treating yourself like you would treat someone you love. Other longer self-care ideas are to sit down and take the time to manage your money. Do your budget. Take a break from social medias, which I personally just did, and it was very helpful for my mental health. Another longer self-care idea would be to discover a new place, to redecorate, to catch up with a friend over coffee, to take yourself on a date, do some volunteering, go for a hike, or have an entire me day. One of the quotes that I love that's included in the book, unfortunately the source is unknown, but it goes like this: "You are worthy of the love you so willingly give to others. Another quote I really enjoy from the book is by Chidera Egeru. Time spent with yourself is never wasted. One last quote that I really like from the book by Matt Haig. Your work will never be finished. Your inbox will never be empty. Your body will never be perfect. Your striving will never end. Don't race life, just walk it. Well, to wrap up, Me Time is more than just a book. It's a companion, kind of like a guide that we can go back to, that will remind us that we're worth the time and effort it takes to take care of ourselves. Per se, I'm feeling drained, overwhelmed, or unsure how to prioritize my own needs. Definitely open up that book and go through the colorful, bright, pretty pages, and that definitely would help me to know what to do next to help myself. If you want to grab a copy of this book, I'm going to leave a link to purchase it on Amazon. That being said, you can always get it from a library. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, and join me whenever you can. Thanks so much for stopping by. Until next time, peace out and take care of yourselves out there. Before you go, I encourage you to take a moment for your self-care today. No matter how small, your self will thank you. Self-care is not selfish. It's not a luxury. It's a necessity for our health. I'm out.